and just some sort of financial stuff that kind of worked really well. So let's have a look. Clickety click, and here we go. Here's what we did with the cable people. We did some SEO, and we did some user-centered design, and we even got a CMS put in, and then so here we go. We started blogging and doing lots of lovely things with eDocker and Flickr and Facebook, and they created a company blog called Cable Genius, and we even had a Last FM user who only listened to songs about cable. Uh, Not for any reason, but just to explore the area of uh, of, of of community content, really. And we created a Cablepedia. Now this is an important thing. One of the things I always do with clients is to try and educate, or do the job of explaining all the jargon, because quite often it's the jargon that keeps people away from you and your company, uh, and it's even useful for sort of new recruits on the team. It's sort of always afraid to ask what a particular word was, and if you're actively making sure that everybody knows, then it's a good thing. So from there, let's have a look. So here's the site we created, and isn't it lovely? And it's been doing really well. And here's the more fun side of selling cables, and having fun there. And here's the educational sort of side of things that we created, where if you've ever wondered what tri-rated cable was, this is the page to come and find out. It ranks really well in Google for tri-rated cable, and we've even got we've got some 3D models, woohoo, over here. And basically, every single piece of jargon is always explained in depth, so that you can read that and know everything that you need to know. Um, uh, and then things started exploding. We started deliciousing, and they started doing things that I didn't even know about. That you can actually follow people on Google Reader, and yeah, we did LinkedIn, and we even created a site that automatically translates our blogs to do some keyword research. So there's sort of the innovation thing is feeding back into the research, and they're engaging in the community, and they're getting calls about cable, and they're finding out what people want and need. But we pretty soon realised that there was lots to do, and they needed some help. So we decided to sort of build some tools, which became known as the engagement engine, to help us make a better job of interacting with communities. And the first thing we had to do was almost a search engine that did the opposite of Google, which was to return the stuff from the bottom rather than the top. And a very important idea that we like to sort of pull out was it had to peripheralize. It had to sort of let information stream by, and not necessarily be exact or authoritative, but just to sort of flow by. And we kept an eye on that. And when the real gem of an opportunity to answer someone's question jumps out, you can then sort of just pick it out the corner of your eye. What One of the things that we try to avoid is where we sit down and design the keywords that we want to approach, because quite often they're just pure fantasy. It's like we want to be top for something, whatever, and yes, we find we are top for whatever, and it doesn't really mean anything, and so we try to avoid that. The next step is about trying to make the tool give us humane tasks, something that can be achievable. So um, rather than give us too much stuff, can you give me 10 things, please? That's kind of, and so another one of the things that we looked at was looking at aggregate search results rather than individual search results, so that you almost get a footsie of let's say you've got 250 keywords, well, and we average at 79 this week. It's just it's looking for different ways of looking at things. Um, and we try to avoid dead-end data. Google Analytics is, as I said before, is fantastic, but it's even better when you start taking the data out of there and putting it back into your search process and your research. And finally, we pretty early sort of discovered that whenever we attempted to try magical stuff, such as sort of semantic webby things, that it's that be seductive but not effective. So we stuck to the boring things. Um, so and lots of people ask what's a crawler look like, and ooh, that's nice. And it looks like this. It's just running searches and finding things out about things. It's nothing big and clever. And what it looks like to the clients is a little bit more friendly, where we go in there and and this is what it does. It essentially gets some data, massively goes out and finds something. Hopefully these things are real things rather than made up fantasy things, like a crawl of an influential blogger or a news feed about a particular subject matter. It then expands those results into thousands and thousands and thousands, and then we try and then process those results. This is all very boring stuff, but we process it. Are people, is that a site that gets lots of traffic? Are people happy? And then we try and squeeze the juice out of it, as I said, down into a humane task that you can do in a coffee break rather than plough through loads and loads of results. And this is what we got out. Stuff we already knew. So we still have some work to do, and so here we go. This is sort of some screens from the engagement engine, and this was the first sort of screen that we sort of started off with, and we found we were number one for electric cable. Now that's one of the fantasy terms where you think, oh, being number one for electric cable for an electric cable company would be so great, but you can see it only brings in 75 visitors a month, and being number two for electric cables was the same. It's pointless. So being number one for lots of things is rather nice. Lots of industry specific terms in here, but they're not big hitters. So what we did was to look at the words that we rank well for, or rank for at all, and see the ones which, if there we are. Let's have a look at this one. NHXMH is an industry term, and it brought in a massive 224 visitors, and we're at position number 9 in the search engines. So using our magic formula, we projected that, hey, if we were number one for this, we'd probably get at least 1,000. So that's a term that we're going to work on in terms of our educational work and discussions and anything else, tagging, anything else that's going on. And you can see here, this gives us a list of the words that have the most potential for doing us the most good in terms of the rankings, and that seemed to me the best way. So there we go. This sets us saying if we improve this, we get an extra 4,000 visitors next month if we up this a bit. This has been a very effective way of thinking about what your keywords might be, and we sort of, from that screen, you can very quickly also get to a Google custom search engine, or a site that says these are the articles that have been written about coaxial cable, which this is trying to feed any data that we've got back into any other services that allow you to quickly find either competitor related stuff or people who you need to be talking to.